Hi, my name is TJ Scott. This is my chapter 5 and 6, Managing Human Resources chapter summaries, which was basically all to do with employment, from the hiring process to then those employees leaving, whether it be retirement, being fired, laid off, anything like that. Um, this chapter 5 kind of surprised me. Chapter 6 did too, actually. Both chapters kind of surprised me because I didn't realize how much statistical analysis really went in to handling these processes, and also how many different decisions rely and impact the decision you may be making about a certain employee, um, whether that be a few. No idea how much actually goes into this. You know, I've handed in plenty of resumes. I've handed in a lot of different um, cover letters, different things like that. I've applied to a lot of internships. I had no idea that they looked at these things and picked out every single detail if it came down to the final process. So going into the challenges of the hiring process from the human resources end is determining characteristics to performance, measuring characteristics of performance, motivation factor, how motivated are they, and who should make the decision when it comes down to hiring. Basically, you have to analyze a person. You have to analyze a person in accordance to what your company may be doing. That's complicated. It's complicated to look at maybe a personality test, a resume, and a cover letter, and say, will this person fit our needs, even if they don't have any experience in the specific area? That's a complicated process to handle. Um, I'm not really sure if there's a perfect way to go about it. Within certain companies, no doubt, there are easier ways to go about it than others. You know, if you're hiring a pizza delivery driver, you're going to look at, does this kid have a license? Uh, is he going to be on time? Is he going to work hard? And is he going to do it safely and effectively? As opposed to somebody that may be working at Nike, you have, in the marketing department, you have to find out each and every detail about not only how hard are they going to work, but are they effective in what they're doing? You know, are they going to produce this company enough money that they may desire out of this specific marketing department? Um, Another thing with the hiring process is who decides. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of input, but ultimately one person's going to make the decision. That's complicated for a lot of different input. You know, one person may think a lot of somebody, and the other person may not think anything of them. That's complicated to come down to one final decision. Another thing is motivation. You know, everybody in the interview process is going to put on their best looks, for lack of a better term. Everybody's going to look the best. They're going to try the hardest. You know, they're going to keep smiling. They're going to say they're doing all these things. But how do you pick out those people that are actually going to stay motivated, say for 5 years, work hard, day in and day out, from those that just put on a good show? I'm not sure that I could do it. Pick these people out. Um, I'm not a gullible person or anything like that, but I think it will be very challenging to almost call people out on their bluffs and say, I think this person's better than you in this situation. Another thing that was touched upon was recruitment. When it comes to the hiring process, you know, how do we want to go about recruiting to certain employees, and then where? How do you find these people? Uh, what I found most interesting, not most interesting, but what was most useful, most effective, also in the book, was the utilization of current employees. You know, can current employees give us what we need? But I also do see potential problems with that because people are going to want to help out their friends. So you have to use reliable sources, reliable people, um, reliable workers, and find out if their sources or the people that they want to bring in are also as reliable as they are, and that's complicated. You're kind of going out on a limb there. And then the selection. The two things they analyzed were reliability and validity. Basically, obviously, reliability is pretty self-explanatory. Are you going to be there? Are you going to work hard? Are you going to produce efficient information or efficient work that we need? And validity. Um, they say content. Basically, is this right or wrong? So just going into a little bit of selection tools. The selection tools are interesting to me. Um, Half of these I've never even seen anybody do or use, and then half of them are used 10 times in one selection. So I'm going to go over all of these. Letters of rec, application forms, ability tests, personality tests, honesty tests, interviews, assessment centers, drug tests, reference checks, background checks, handwriting analysis. All of those things, in my opinion, in a millennial's opinion, can be bluffed, which is really interesting to me. You can bluff all of those things. So maybe I'm old-fashioned, maybe I'm old school, but I think it comes down to the eye test, in my opinion. Selection process is complicated, and I could go on and on about it, just because you're trying to predict someone's personality and then see how efficient they may work. That's complicated. So going into Chapter 6, which is separations, whether that be being laid off, quit, retirement, it's pretty self-explanatory, basically why and how employees may separate from a company. There's also a lot of analysis involved in this. Downsizing and right-sizing was really interesting to me. Basically streamlining a company's efficiency based on who we need and how we need a person. I think all companies should be doing both of those things, trying to find out the cheapest, most effective way to run a company. Obviously, you don't want to eliminate people if they don't need to be eliminated. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying some people have a lot of strengths, and I think you can utilize them. A lot of people are doing a job that they're very good at, but they could also do two jobs at once without any stress, without any fret. Obviously, this doesn't work for the employment of this country, but I do think a lot of people are getting by with jobs that aren't very efficient and can be done by another person, whether that be cheaper or the same, a person that's also doing another job in a company that could benefit the corporate structure of America. And then retirement, a little bit into the acts when it comes to protection of people, protection of employees. Separation is complicated when it comes down to letting go of employees or firing them. A lot of these things in human resources is looking at the legal rights of a company to almost force retirement. Obviously, it's not forcing retirement, it's against the law, but basically forcing retirement. And then also, at what point are you allowed to fire an employee, let an employee go? Being laid off was another thing. A lot of separation, you have to check with the legal rights of the company and also the legal rights of Americans in general. What are they allowed to expect? What are they allowed to handle? And then what do you have to do for them after that separation? Thank you.